welcome back to the Brew House. Today we have the Jacksonville Zoo and we have Jaida here talking to us about the history and what they have to offer for the city of Jacksonville. So I know you used to be a zookeeper, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started out at the Jacksonville Zoo as a herpetology keeper, and my main interest was aquatics. I studied marine biology growing up, and so I was really, I saw a water quality position come up, and I applied for it, and thankfully I was able to take on that position. Now, herpetology means reptiles and amphibians, so I was a little, can't find the word. I was a little bit afraid. I had a natural fear for reptiles and amphibians, but I took on the position. So, and it's been great so far. Yeah.
So what do you recommend for people that might have been in your position that are looking to conquer their fears of touching a reptile or getting acquainted with the species?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is education. So when I started in the herpetology department, I started learning more about identifying specifically non-venomous animals and venomous animals. And as long as I knew how to identify them, the fear of those animals went away, and my respect grew a lot more. I've always respected animals, obviously. That's what drew me to the zoo. But that fear gave subsided a lot more. So that's what I would recommend. Education, learn how to identify, and you'd feel a lot better about knowing what to touch and what not to touch. So
that's great too, because I know that the zoo offers classes for that type of thing, and they also offer classes for any other educational purposes. So what, I know you have from toddlers to how old?
Yeah, so we have programs within our education department that range from classes for toddlers all the way, like mommy and me classes, all the way up to adult classes. One specific citizen science program that we have is called Save the Frogs, and I really like this program because we bring in any interested person to come in for a training session, and what we're teaching you is how to identify different species of frogs in our local area through their frog call. So you just sit back in your backyard, a glass of wine if you want to, listen to the frog calls, and just start writing down what species you hear. You report that data back to the zoo, and it goes into a national database, and it really gives a good ecological picture. What's going on? What calls are we still hearing? What calls are we not hearing anymore? And so that's a great way for the Jacksonville community to become involved with conservation.
That's amazing. I love frogs. I remember catching them in my backyard when I was younger. So I know you've been with the zoo for about 7 years, you say?
Almost 7 years, yeah.
That's amazing. So what are you doing right now?
Right now I'm a special events coordinator. So I'm having so much fun with this position. I do everything from conservation events to fun events like Winter in July or Garden and Wine Festival or zoo lights and spectaculars. So I'm involved in involved with a team in planning these big events and just bringing the Jacksonville community into the zoo. Yeah.
What type of events are you having right now? I heard about the butterfly exhibit that's coming up in the summer.
Yeah, Butterfly Hollow is already open.
Okay. So
everybody can come out and enjoy that whenever they're ready. But specifically this weekend is Garden and Wine Festival. We love this event because it really highlights our botanical garden. We are the largest botanical garden in Northeast Florida.
Wow.
And yeah, a lot of people don't know that, and we really love highlighting the unique landscaping that we have there. Our horticulture department is so well versed and of course educated, but they have done an amazing job in maintaining the landscaping and the gardens in there. So yeah, and why not bring in the wine with that?
Yeah, no, that makes everything all better, right?
Yeah. So it's a great event. It's a 2-day event this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and we'll have local vendors selling plants. We'll have garden talks where people can learn different topics of gardening with our horticulture team. So it's not only can you enjoy a glass of wine and also buy some plants, but it's also educating. Our mission is to educate the Jacksonville community as much as we can. So that's one of the main goals of this event.
Yeah, you do a really great job of educating, especially like you mentioned before, the classes that you have. And I know a lot of kids come there for field trips, so you do a great job at that. And I was wondering about there's a tattoo contest.
There
So
is.
what is it about that?
There is. So, Tattoo Zoo is a new event that we're doing. It's not an event at the zoo. It's more online. So you submit your pictures, your tattoo pictures, appropriate pictures,
Right.
to the zoo email, and say you have a tattoo of like a tiger or maybe a shark or stingray. We vote on the best tattoos, and you may win a chance to have a behind the scenes tour of your favorite animals. Say your tattoo was of a tiger, you may have a chance to win a tour with the tigers. So it's a really great experience. So looking forward to see who the winners are. Yeah.
That's really cool. So how often do you do contests, or is this like the first big thing, or how does that work?
It comes sporadically. I guess it's whenever the marketing team comes up with this brilliant idea and let's do it. We try to involve the Jacksonville community as much as we can. So we don't really do it once every 3 months or anything like that. But as long as a good idea comes across our way and we think it'd be fun and exciting and educating for the Jacksonville community, we'll throw it out there to you guys.
Well, that's amazing. So what else can the Jacksonville community do to support you guys? I know, can people volunteer, or how does that work out?
Absolutely. So we have zoo teen programs, which I believe applications are being accepted right now. Zoo in high school, they have to acquire a certain amount of hours. Well, they can acquire those hours through the Jacksonville Zoo, and they do everything from working a booth during the day and educating the public about certain conservation issues. It could be 96 elephants. It could be about the Save the Frogs that I spoke about earlier. And they raise money throughout the summer with the regular Jacksonville Zoo guests during the day. So our Zoo Teen program last year raised, I want to say, about $2,000 or $3,000 over the summer, and that money goes right to conservation projects that are going on within the zoo. So the zoo teens really get involved over the summer. We also have adult programs. They help out with special events such as Brew at the Zoo, or our major gala that we just had this past weekend, Exuberation. They'll help us out during those events. There's a lot of different opportunities for different ages. So. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great that you give the opportunity for people to give back as you're giving them something to look forward to at the Jacksonville Zoo.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell our audience, or any other events that are coming up, any special exhibits?
Yeah, well, we do have our Manatee Critical Care Center that will be opening up real soon. I don't have a specific date for you guys soon, but definitely check back to our website and look for updates on that. But the Jacksonville Zoo is really excited to get the exhibit opened and ready to go for rehabilitation purposes for local manatees. Previously, any injured or cold stressed manatees would have to be driven all the way down to SeaWorld or maybe even Tampa Lowry's Park Zoo. And this way they don't have to go through that travel after already being sick. They can come right to the Jacksonville Zoo and receive care right away. So.
Well, that's amazing that you're giving back and helping other people and animals as well get the things that they need. How many conservatories do you have at the zoo? Do you know by chance?
Conservatories, like conservation projects?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I'm sorry about that. We have quite a few. I don't know how many off the top of my head, but I want to say it's about 20 different projects. We have local projects. We have the Okapi project. Are you familiar with
No,
okapis?
I'm not. What is that?
They are a unique animal. A lot of people say they're like a mix between a giraffe and a zebra. And they live in the deep forests in the Congo. And they were just recently discovered in the early 1900s. So they're a huge conservation effort to really protect that animal because they're so recluse and they live in such a specific area that it's really important to protect their natural habitat. So we're involved in a preserve out there in Africa and helping out with that. And then other projects like our marine mammal rescue team. We have a lot of herpetology projects as well. We contribute to a newt project in the panhandle of Florida. Striped newts are a critically endangered species, and they only live in a specific area in the panhandle of Florida. And we actually raise them at the zoo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we re-release them out to the wild to kind of boost up that population and really help that out.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and another project is our Puerto Rican crested toad. We do that as well. We raise tadpoles up at the zoo. We breed them at the zoo, raise the tadpoles, and then ship them to Puerto Rico for re-release also. So there's a lot of different conservation projects we're contributing to, and it's only growing and it's getting bigger and better, and I'm really proud of it, really proud.
Well, I have one quick question.
Sure.
So I know when you're nurturing the animals at the zoo, how does that transition from going to the zoo and then going back into their natural habitat for the animal or the species?
That's a great question. Great question. So when you go to the zoo and you really learn about these animal ambassadors, let's say, for example, specifically our wild Florida area, because that would really directly affect our local wildlife. When you know what the animals need, their habitats, how they need to live, like say the gopher tortoise, for example, they need to be in, they burrow like 30 feet underneath, and their habitats are being destroyed by construction and housing developments. You can make better choices at home, whether it's reduce, reuse, recycle, whether it's preserving a certain land, or whatever decisions come your way, and you have an opportunity to make a better choice towards wildlife. That's what I hope that our guests really take away from the education at the zoo. So yeah, and that goes internationally too. We all travel to different areas, or maybe we want to look up an organization that the zoo actually supports and contribute even more. So by educating yourself at the zoo, you can make better decisions at home, and that's really our mission.
That's very true. I've just recently, well, I've been recycling, but now I'm more adamant in making sure that I reuse things and recycle for the environment and also for the animals.
Yeah, a perfect example, although we don't have sea turtles at the zoo, one thing that has been going around on Facebook is, plastic straws. We don't use plastic straws at the zoo because, if it accidentally gets littered in the zoo, it could be harmful to animals. Well, in the ocean, plastic straws has seen to go in sea turtles' noses.
Oh, wow.
And it's really painful, and I don't know how many times it's happened that a sea turtle hasn't been rescued from it, but sea turtles the ones that have been rescued, thankfully, they've removed the plastic straws. So anyway, back to my point is maybe we choose to use paper straws instead of plastic straws or things like that. So when you know those little details that are harmful to the animals, it helps you make better choices in the other end.
That's very true. So where can people find out more information about what do you have events that are going on, how they can learn about the animals, and anything else that the zoo has to offer?
Yeah, if you just go to our website at www.jacksonvillezoo.org, there's plenty of information there. We even have information of each of our animals that we have at the zoo. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we really try to maintain those social media platforms with conservation information. You might get hints and tips and clues on what to do in your life just to make the world a better place.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and you heard it first here at the Buzz Magazine. Be sure to check them out at jacksonvillezoo.com.